Hey guys, Mr. Rysz here to help you out with the part 4 of the 1-2-3 app. So 1-2-3 part 4. Yay, it works out mathematically. All right, so I'm going to go through and save this project as my initials 1-2-3 P4. Okay, so we turn this in. All right, let's open up this assignment here. All right, let's look at this here and kind of talk about what we're going to do. So you guys might have noticed here that certain inputs can make an app seem like it's not working even when it's supposed to. All right, so you may be wondering whether you programmed something wrong or incorrectly due to these empty string errors. And so we have an error here. So if we divide by 0, so remember our initial global price and size is at 0. So if we try to divide by 0, we end up getting error. And you might have heard your math teacher say something before about not dividing by 0. We just can't. So if the user enters in 0 or nothing, the program will try to divide by 0 unless the program app is made to avoid that. So there's multiple ways to protect against 0 inputs. Doing so is important in apps and other computer software to avoid those errors and make the user think that the program is broken. All right. We want to try to prevent programs from crashing. So in the next step, we're going to set up a conditional structure that will use different types of programming to avoid the divide by 0 crash. All right. And so you can see here what's on Canvas. You might have to look this up here. Is we have a whole bunch of inputs in the Booleans that we're going to kind of mix together here to make sure that this is. So when the user needs to change their inputs, we're going to use a chained conditional statement or Boolean expressions and logical operators to divide input through the result1 output. So that result bar that's down here. All right. We're going to pull these blocks out together and we're going to create an algorithm. And we want to make sure that this will work here. When the user provided no input, if they put in 0, they entered a slice but no price. If they entered a price but no size, and we let them know when the feedback is correct. Okay, and so I'm going to try to see if I can zoom up a little bit to that picture here. Kind of hard to see. All right, but I think we can go through this here. All righty. You know what? I might have to kind of split screen this a little bit. Okay, I can kind of see that there. All right, so we have in the calculated dot click, which we already have. Looks like we have an if, else, if, and then an else. And the else is this code that we already have. So we're going to go to our control. We're going to drag out this block. We're going to take the code that works good that we had. We're going to put that in the else. So now we got to figure out the rest of this here. All right, so you can see we have an input was left blank. Please add a number. And we can see that those are the result1.output text, which we don't need all that join here. But we're going to need 2 of these here. So I'm going to duplicate those. Control C, Control V. We also need to have, I don't want to snap them together. We need to have a couple texts here. One's going to say, an input was left blank. Please add a number. And then we'll duplicate that. And the other one says, please enter a number, not other characters. All right. And then we need a couple blanks here as well, because we're going to make some things blank. Okay. Or we're going to probably be checking to see. All right, so let's talk about our first thing that we're going to do. In fact, we can just snap these 2 together. One of them is going to tell us that the input was left blank. Please add the other. The other one says going to enter number, not characters. And you can see we have a bunch of equals or Boolean statements here. So let's talk about what was left blank. And that could be one of the price1 input.text. And we're going to actually have 2 of those. Control C, Control V that we use. And then we actually need one for size. Oh no, my light turned off, and another one for size. All right, so you can see we're building these all together. And we need some equal signs here. We're going to use logical equal signs. Looks like we need a bunch of them. What, 4 of them? Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. There's 4 equal signs. Squeezing these all together. I'll zoom this out, and then we need a couple ors too. 2 ors. Control C, Control V. All right, let's make this bigger. Let's put this. Oh, we need is a number. We need 2 of those. All righty. Okay. Let's try to take this and put this all in the right spot. I'm just going to move this over here. All right. So if it was blank, what we want to do is we want to check to see if 2 things were left blank, right? We want to see if the price 1 input is equal to blank, or the size 1 input. Come on. That's not snapping in. Oh, wait, no, we don't want to use or. We don't use equal. That's why. I was like, why is that not stamping in? All right, so there's the 2 things we want to be checking out here. And this would make sense, right? If we take a second to read this, does the pizza price text equal blank or the size 1 text equal blank? Then we need to tell it to enter a number. All right, next, let's also talk about if they is a number, right? All right, so let's see. You know what? Is there anything else we're missing here? Any trues or falses or numbers? You know what? I don't really like this. Let's do, we need an or. What we want to do here is we want to check to see, not really is a number. I think it would be better because we have it set as numbers only. We need to see if that equals 0. We don't want them to put in zeros. All right. So here it says, please enter number. So this should go through here. And if we actually have a type in error, it won't kill our program. It's going to go through and check to see if we did this right. So let's first connect to see if this works. We're going to go through the list of commands that it says on Canvas. We're going to see if that is correct. All right, so I'm going to connect AI companion here. I'm going to get my program set up. I'm going to scan my code. I'm going to change our screen. So I'm going to stop share, change my camera, and no, don't delete. Okay. All right, come on, camera, focus here. All right, so the first thing we want to check to see is if we leave one of these blank, that it tells us that. Okay, so if I leave the pizza size blank, calculate, it says, oh, an input was left blank, please add a number. All right, let's double check that if I actually put in 2 numbers here, if it works good. Calculate. It's not, if I have 2 numbers in here, it's not actually doing. Or what if I leave, put in a 0 for either one of those? All right, input was left blank, please add another. All right, something's going on here. Let's see. I'm going to go back to my code and try to see what is going on here. Screen share. First, I'm going to check, make sure I've got a connection. I'm going to refresh the companion. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, let's stop sharing here. Let's actually see if we type in a number here, this works. All right, it says input was left blank. Okay, so let's go to our code, try to figure out what we did wrong. And take a second here, and this happens. We're gonna figure out what's missing. So if we say the price we got as this result here, we got this one here. All right. So it's saying price 1 text is equal to blank, or which it is not. All right. Actually, you know what? I realized here, it's not pizza, it's price, size, pizza. Oh, I have pizza input. It should be price input. Oh, that's why it wasn't working right. So you can see here, even when we are taking our time naming things using different variable names or similar variable names, we can have some issues here. Okay, let's stop sharing here. Let's click calculate. All right, there we go. It tells us the area is 3.14. Oh yeah, because 12. That's crazy. All right, so let's do something. Oh, the area was 2. Let's change that. Let's leave one of them blank. Calculate. An input was left blank. All right, let's put a number in for there. Well, that's a crazy number. Let's leave that one blank, or actually, let's put a number in. It works. Let's get rid of that one here. Let's calculate it again. Okay, it was left blank. Let's change one of them to a 0. Calculate. Number cannot be 0 here. And even, let's double check that works for both of them. Oh, yeah, that should be fine. We'll make this one 0. Calculate. Okay, there we go. But if we actually make it a number, it works. Okay, so we got the math working out. That's good for the first part. Oh, no, crap. Don't close the Zoom. All right, let's move on to the next part here. All right, so we got that. Next, what we want to do is work on our incremental counter. So we want it so when we click this pizza button, we have a count that gets added and shows up every single time. Okay, so we've done incremental counters before here. So we're going to go to our code and we're going to set up a global variable of count. And we're going to figure out the pizza slice. So we already have some global variables made. I'm going to make another one called count. We're going to start it out at 0 because that's how many pizza slices we have at the beginning. We're going to drag down the slice count.touchdown, or I'm going to, since my slice count is a button, I'm going to do, well, count down. I'm just going to do dot click. Let's see, what's the difference between touchdown and click? Click is, we hover over it. This is when the user tapped and releases the button. Touchdown is when the button was pressed down. Okay, I think we've used click before. I'm going to stick to click. What we want to do is to increase the count by 1. So this should be something we've done several times before, and you guys should be used to it. We're going to set the global count to, grab out a math. We're going to get the global count plus 1. All right, so when we click the slice count, we're going to make the global. The other thing we want to do is we want to see the output get updated. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a procedure called output. Okay, so let's make a procedure called output. Output. And we are going to call that output after we click on the count. So in the output, what we want to do here is we want to go through and get a result text, which used to say the area of the pizza and the cost per size. We wanted to say a little bit more, right? So let's join some more things to this. We want it to actually say also how many pizza slices we want. Number of slices. And we're going to then get the variable, get number of slices. Or count. I'm going to put a little space. Oh no, got rid of all that. Put some spaces before area pizzas like we have cost per square inch to give some spaces here. Now, the one thing is, now that we have the procedure of output, which is being called here, what we can do to simplify our code, we can get rid of this section here, delete all those blocks, and we can just say, call the output. Okay. So when we click this button here, it calls the output, which tells us how many slices we have. It tells us the area of the pizza, the cost per square inch. And here we have our output, which also goes through, gives us this. Okay, so let's test this out. Let's see if that works. Okay, so let me stop sharing here. Let's look at our screen. All right, I'm going to put some decent numbers in here for our price, some normal, realistic numbers here. So let's say $14 for a 12-inch pizza. All right, we could calculate, which tells us right now we have 0 numbers of slices. The area of the pizza is this size and the cost per square inch is $12.38. All right, we can then click on here. We're adding slices of pizza. And as we click that, that changes. Nothing else changes yet, but we'll have to figure out that later. All right, next, the last thing we want to do is to add a reset button here. And this is going to be nice since we have a procedures. We want a reset button to click. So let's screen share here again. So we have a reset button. And this is what's nice about procedures. You'll see like this used to be like every single one of these things used to be its own day. Now that we use procedures, we can duplicate this event over and over again and make this quicker. All right, what we want to do when we reset, we want to make the slice, the count, go back to 0. Count back to 0. And then we want to update the display down there to say number of slices is 0. Well, we already have a procedure called update. We can just run it or call it. And let's see if that works. So we can stop sharing here. Right now, if I click on this here, we got 25, 26. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, 32. If I click reset, that goes to 0. And our display changed as well. So that's really nice that we have that procedure to make our display get updated any single time we click any of these buttons. All right, guys, that's it for part 4. I will see you guys again for part 5. Have a good one.